Hello, peoples of the internet, and welcome to another automation video where I'll hopefully be building a small sports car of some kind. I think I'll use this body because it's small and looks like a sports car. It's basically going to be a rival to something like the MX-5. I wonder if I can put 4 seats in this. I'm going off subject. It's supposed to be, say, an MX-5 rival. And it's going to need to be cheap, use cheap engines and all the rest of it. So, what have we got? We're not going with a space frame, that's for sure, because they're too expensive. Can only go with 175s it seems. I think I need to flare that out. No, it just says it anyway. Can probably fit wider then, in that case. Can actually have the engine in the way. Let's do that then, give it some good weight over the rear wheels. Double wishbone front and rear. It's odd actually, I can have worse suspension on the rear than I can on the front. Not sure why I would want that. Make it of corrosion resistant steel, remember it's got to be cheap. So we're not having anything fancy here. It actually looks like a supercar, but it's not. We're going to use plastic to keep it cheap as well. Grills. That's kind of a GTR style grill. Oh, it's not going down, is it? It won't go down the bodywork. Or so it seems. Ah, my hard drive isn't quick enough for this. There we go. That'll do. Looks a bit miserable, but that's the way my car will have to be, I guess. Because I'm not redoing it, since it looks okay. Headlights. Ooh, they actually quite suit it. What styles can we get? That kind of works. Get a better view. I think I'm quite liking these kind of blacked out ones. Or that one. Slightly more texture to that. I think I like the smoothness of that, to be honest. Looks a little like an LMP even. Which stands for Le Mans Prototype, in case you didn't know. We need a badge. Let's put my badge on here then. Need to compress it down because it's a bit strange like this. In automation the badge won't be quite round if you put it on at an awkward angle. That should do. So, yeah, looks pretty odd from the side. Which reminds me actually, I should probably go for an indicator, of which these should work quite nicely. Fit with the bodywork and all. There we go. And the door handles. Doo-doo-doo. What's this? Wonder how that looks. Oh yeah. Now we want plastic. So what can I get? Wonder if I could get that now. Fine, I'll get this with plastic. I've got to remind the buyer it's a cheap car. Constantly. Could go with a bonnet vent, I don't think it would work though. And I don't think it needs it. Especially not since the engine's in the back. Actually, I wonder if I can go a bonnet vent on the rear. Yes, I can. Looks slightly crazy. That can be my main air intake though. Should be a pretty good place to put an intake actually, despite it looking a little odd. And I'm just thinking about aero. I want a front lip, wherever I find that. Go the wing first, because it's the first I find. No, don't want that one when it goes across. Plastic! Is that plastic? I don't know. No, it doesn't quite work. Not big enough. That should work quite well if I can get it at the angle I'm hoping I can. Yeah, that looks okay. Shouldn't need a massive wing, especially not with all that weight at the rear. There we go, lips. We will need a front lip, however, because there's not a load of weight at the front. Just spread it out as far as we possibly can. Doesn't actually look too bad. I feared it might completely ruin my design. Apparently not, though. Well, if I go a bit higher, it seems like I can actually make it wider. Maybe not, I don't know. Now the grill needs moving up a little and smallening. But as I said, the grill was easily big enough as it was for the car's required purpose. The rear's a bit plain at the moment. I've not added anything yet. So for tail lights, what should we go with? How do these look? I think they're like Alfa Romeo rear lights from the 4C. I think they work quite well, actually. So get those on so they're not in the way of the wing. And then I might need some turning lights, indicators even, as all the cool kids call them. They're chrome. I want the cheap body colour ones. No. Well, I'm not having chrome on here. I don't want people to think their car's expensive. Ooh, they work really well actually with the other round lights. And I think we need some exhausts. Give these ones a go then. Bit smaller, bit lower, bit more outwards I guess, or then the wheels would get in the way, wouldn't they? So it's not really what you would do. I think that works. There's got to be something else I can do though. And I'm thinking via grills. I could have one of these without the actual stuff on. Like I had on Timmy. And the badge, of course. Make it a bit bigger. Like an old Fiat. The old Fiats. Panda, they had massive badges on them. Took up the whole grill. Come on. Use your 5400 RPMs. Actually looks quite nice in that blue as well. Not many cars do. Well, from the back it does, not so much from the front. Looks okay from the front. I wonder what kind of engine I can fit here. Now V6 is too expensive. Go with an aluminium inline 4. Ooh, this does not fit a big engine, does it? Looks like I'll be turboing it. (900cc) turbo. It's miniature. So I'm going with 5 valves per cylinder. Aluminium. Keep the price reasonable, yet keep the technology at a good level so it can push a lot of power. I'm not a fan of turbos, but people buy them, so that's what we're doing. We want variable valve timing style. Can't forget the touch of style. Let's go with this 20 valve in red because it's sporty. turbocharger and injection. I think we want multi-point EFI, electronic fuel injection, maybe direct injection. Ooh, max power 617. Max power 617. Yeah, go with that then, and I'll reduce it if necessary. What's that gold thing on there? Something to do with the turbo, isn't it? Go with a performance intake. Show you what that looks like from around there compared to standard, which looks a bit boring. Performance costs a bit more to service, but it seems worth it overall. Run it on low quality fuel. Rev it to the moon for now. Bypass valves, because they're cool. And that's a big exhaust actually. One funny thing you can do is set that to biggest, and on such a tiny engine, if it actually shows it, we can have a tiny engine with a huge exhaust coming out of it. I thought that was a bit funny, although everyone's probably just moaning at me now. Hey, look at that. It's actually got a bolt. It's got two bolts hanging off the engine. Oh no, it's not supposed to be attached to the engine. It's okay, I'm just being stupid. It is reflective though. I can see my whole workshop with it. I can forget to buy a mirror now because we've got a massive exhaust. Lower that to something more reasonable. And let's test this engine, which will almost certainly fail. Yeah, I'm already having problems. And the chart's glitched out a bit. I made 8 horsepower. 9 horsepower maybe. It's not the worst. The lower I set this, I believe, the better economy I can get. And I just need to adjust the fuel mixture to match. Whoa. Ball bearing on the turbo. Should make that work better. Get that to the best level of economy. And we need one of these. Go with air medium. I believe that's lighter and cheaper than that. 18.1 kilograms. 5.9, so yeah, lighter and cheaper. Now what have we got in the way of compressor? It's very big there. Seems to like being very big. So I'll leave it like that. Oh, that brings the power on earlier. So make that smaller. The power hikes up pretty quickly, but it's a bit of a mess when it does. The economy is getting better though all the while. Well, it was. There we go. Don't want to lower that, lowers power quite a lot. So set that until it gets 73.4, I guess you could say. Hike up the PSI, which means pressure per square inch, if I remember it correctly. And that's giving me a lot of power, which just cuts in somewhere between 2000 and 4000 RPM. Yes, it's called 3000 RPM, but I didn't know that number existed apparently. It isn't really affecting the economy though, which is good. What does that do now? Right, 89.4 seems to be a pretty solid number then. Get that up to there then and leave it. Just check my compression again. Yep, that's the best it'll be. That reduces my power without much benefit. probably shouldn't be doing it this way, but I am. I have just remembered this engine's tiny. I'm thinking it's 2 litres, but it's not. It's about 0.9. So, just redo the turbo a bit. Don't want to do the turbo a bit. Reduces my power. All economy has gone out the window now. It does give me slightly better power delivery. Maybe slightly more power. Oh, now it's lagging quite a bit, but making loads of power at the same time. I'm trying to watch the economy. It's a bit of a mess. Right, how long until it really starts going down? 63 seems like a solid number, so I'll use that. Compression. I'm just thinking, I might be being a bit stupid if I actually lower that fully. It might get me better economy. No, I've just messed my engine up. Save me, someone. So have that as lowest as I can get, I guess, and then no, just doesn't work. So I'll mess with these figures, I guess, until I get the best. Go back to where I was then. Done more harm than good, by the looks of it. Is webbing reasonably high? Not to the very highest level though, and that doesn't do me any benefits. Maybe only single point injection. Nah, that's not good enough. Bit rubbish in terms of economy. Oh yes, better thingy then. That helps it along. And the engine's knocking now. But that doesn't seem to do anything positive, so try adjusting that, and I think that's done what we want. I'm so technical. Just try adjusting that. All the technical language actual engineers use. There we go. Seems like a pretty solid engine. Reliability is a bit low. But if I hike the quality up. Yeah, I don't want a really massive exhaust, or it doesn't have any benefits. Actually, what am I doing? Check the RPM, check the exhaust, and then retune the RPM, I guess you could say. It does affect the RPM though, which is interesting actually. I wouldn't think the exhaust would affect that, of all parts. Turbo's a bit strained in making all my power. I believe it's a single turbo. The power just jumps up at about 4,500 RPM. Just nothing, and then power. I'm guessing a lot of these cars are going to end up in hedges. Let's close it in on it. maybe zoom is the correct term. I'm so far away from such a tiny end. There we go. Nothing's coming on, nothing's coming on. Power! And that's that. How much power are we making again? 162, that's quite impressive. The economy won't be the same story though. It's going to cough out emissions like it's 1969. I'll go with a vicious LSD because it's cheap but still gives me the cornering benefits of an LSD, I guess. Go with some sporty wheels which have to be massive, or not 20 inches. 17s maybe. Ooh. Fronts are wider, that's very odd for this kind of vehicle. Maybe my engine placement had something to do with that though. Think I'll go with 18 inches. Maybe they're too big though. Yeah, 18s I think look a bit better to my eyes. So I'll go with 205s, 225s. Should give you that supercar feeling without too much expense. I mean, I could probably go with even wider tyres by flaring out the arches, but I don't believe it's worth it. Just for what's a relatively low power sports car anyway. Model 2? Nah, we're not Tesla. We don't call our cars that. We call it the polluting blob. Because it's a blobby design to me. Well, maybe not that blobby, but it's a little blobby. So we're calling it a polluting blob. We can have alloy wheels. We can splash out on that. Go with some 4-piston vented discs. 300mm in the front. And we can go with similar brakes but solid discs. They can be about 270 on the rear. That's a bit big actually. 265s. Can go with downforce, full downforce. Make it feel planted even though it's on slightly rubbish tyres. 2 seats, which is a shame. Could probably be a 2+2. Well, you're going to fit 2 what in here? Magic pixies, which are a quarter of the size of a normal human and float around. You'd fit 2 pixies in if it was one in the boot, I guess. But hey, it's not great for space. Those pixies are so annoying, they just float away when you try and put them in a car anyway. Not very good for testing. Oh no, I've just realised I've got chrome on the grille. That's a mistake, it makes it look more expensive than it actually is. Why have I gone with handmade interior? I'm going mad. Basic infotainment. Could go with none, but it wouldn't be competitive, would it, to have no entertainment? This engine's pretty cheap, by the way. It's under $1,000 thingies to build, whatever you call it. Yeah, while we're on the subject, the currency in this game is elves. We trade in elves. Ooh, sportiness very high. Sportiness is low on that. Ooh, standard springs are a bit sportier, apparently. Although they're probably less comfortable, so I'll go with sportiness. Yeah, we want a very sporty suspension setup, even if it costs us a bit more. I pressed that button far too many times. Miles per gallon isn't actually near as bad as I would have thought. And it is going to get a little better when I've adjusted the transmission. Yeah, 25.6 miles per gallon. It's not actually as bad as I'd feared. It's not very competitive at all in today's market, but hey, that's what we do, eh? Turbo engines that aren't economical. There's probably Lamborghinis that are more economical than this. Look at that weight balance, 38.6 and 64.1. It's crazy. It seems to be keeping it in the higher RPMs, because that's where it's making its power. It's a very 80s style turbo in this. How much downforce? Well, I've actually got some front downforce. That's where I was messing around with Timmy and I couldn't get him to get any. So, I think you get the idea. Now let's name the trim. I know, I have no imagination. Yeah, because it's such an 80s style engine, I'm just calling it Turbo, Turbo, Turbo. And you get the idea. Turbo, 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 Turbo. Yeah, that's the engine's name. Pretty slow to 60, pretty poor for economy. Should have just bought a Peugeot engine or something, but I don't think like that. And now my engine's too big, oh no. Where have I put it? It was something, wasn't it? Polluting blob, that was it. Turbo, Turbo, Turbo. Where does it stand on markets then? I wonder. So, 12,100, that's not too bad for price. But I want a healthy 10% profit margin on this. So, yeah. Somehow it's a pony car. Most of the time it says that for front wheel drives, but for once it's actually correct in that it's a cheap, reasonably powerful rear wheel drive. How does it compete in this poorer continent? Track, muscle, pony. For some reason automation seems to think everything's a muscle car. I don't know why. Sport B, an affordable performance car with good drivability and a hint of comfort. Wow, I'm surprised. I didn't think this car would have a hint of comfort. Oh, all those emissions, 77.7. Price is reasonable though, and I think I've made quite a nice little vehicle here. So, yeah. Thanks for watching and goodbye until next episode.